What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. You can call me Captain James Holden, or whatever you'd like. Let me get this drop down here. Welcome to Monday Q&A. This is an off week for the giveaways. So we're going to do something a little special tonight. We're going to build an entire no-solder tiny lifter. Tiny lifter is sort of like the designation that I've given to tiny whoops that are built to lift a camera. This particular build over here is built to lift an Insta360 Go 2 or an Insta360 Go 1. Technically, this, like, weight-wise, this would also lift a naked GoPro, but there's not a really good mounting system for that, so I think that would be the limitation there. This would also pick up of course, the Caddx Peanut, because it's the same thing as the Insta360 Go 2, as well as the new Runcam, the Runcam Thumb, I guess it's called. Yeah, this would be a great rig to pick any of those cameras up. It's designed to fly, like the power plant and the frame and everything is designed to fly like a lifter would or like a Cinewhoop would. This is not a freestyle rig. This is more for smooth cinematic-ish footage. And yeah, this should be pretty cool. This is with all sort of off-the-shelf stuff. I am going to do a little bit of soldering on this one, but you absolutely don't have to, and we're going to talk more about that as we dig into it. I'm going to put ELRS on it, but you don't need to. It already has FR-Sky built in, and I'm going to put a solid pin PH 2.0 battery lead on it, but the rolled pin one that the Newbie Drone rig comes with is going to totally work. Links down below in the description, affiliate links to all of the parts that you need to build this. So yeah, if you decide to go this route, do me a favor and hit my affiliate link. Speaking of, this is my full-time job. If you'd like to support me on this crazy journey, head on over to CiottiFPV.com. There's affiliate links to a whole bunch of websites there: Amazon, Get FPV, Oh My God's site, FPV Cycle, FPV Crate, and a bunch of others. There's an Etsy store, there's a Fiverr page, there's a Teespring store, all kinds of good stuff. I rely on beautiful people like you to be able to keep doing, 8 to 10 hours of live streams a week, every week. And you guys have been doing a hell of a job so far, so, thanks for that, as always. So yeah, that's the big thing that we're going to do tonight. Other than that, though, this is a Q&A stream, so fill the chat up with any questions that you've got. Riot9 was first in the chat, Bob Noxious was next, Dan Richmond, Glenn Burnett, Fargo252, Kleptox, Alexander FPV, Slim, Richard, Riot9, Gamma Gonad again, FPV Trucker, Northern Tier, Paulie Lee, Glenn Burnett, Robert Garcelone, Slide By, Gamma Gonad again, Dusty Joe, Paulie Lee again, Slim, Glenn Burnett off the ground. I'm going to leave it there. If you want the gangly man to say your name out loud, say something in the chat. If you want to talk directly to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. When you do that, it lights up in orange like this. You don't have to use the @ tag, but you can if you'd like. All right, the folks that have tagged me so far, Bob Noxious says, what's up? Alexander FPV says, what cam do you use for your top-down shots? Alexander, this is a Logitech 910, 920, 910 or 920. It sucks. I hate it. I do not recommend it. It gets the job done, but the autofocus is awful, and I don't know. There's just nothing special about it. What's nice about it is it's nice and small, and the cord comes out like the back bottom of it. So there it is. It's hard for me to show it to you guys because everything is kind of tucked in here. So I've got a ball head here. I've got a photography clamp on the top of my toolbox, and then a ball head here so I can rotate it and move it around. These are these quarter 20 extenders that I got off Amazon, and then yeah, there's the cam. It does have a little hinge on it, which I admit is kind of nice, but I don't use it all that often. I used to use this little part of the hinge a lot, but I forget that it's there. But yeah, it's small, it's clean. This light kind of takes up the same little space as it. I wish it was a little bit wider angle so I could drop it down lower and get this light down even lower, but that's okay. At some point, I would probably like to have a DSLR for the down-facing camera for a little bit better quality. But, oh my god, I'm going to get yelled at if I don't do this. But yeah, that's... a DSLR is going to be much bigger, all up in my face, and so yeah, I don't know. I'll need to wall mount it. I won't be able to use this same little flimsy kind of mounting setup, so I would need to wall mount it with that same thing that Joshua has, and then bring it down. And then the problem would be this light. Like I really love the ability to have this light right on top of this light source, because it puts a really nice column of light on my work area, and it's just big enough of a light source where it kind of works. A DSLR sitting here would be much bigger, and then there would be wires coming out the side, which would kind of be a pain in the ass. I'm always like kind of reaching into the toolbox here for tools and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I would love it if there was. I should probably do a little bit of research and try to find a webcam, a nice small webcam for here that's got a better autofocus. That would be really nice. Did I move it? It's all crooked now? Why is it so crooked? all of a sudden. Did I move it that way? Whoa, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Alright, that's fine. So yeah, there's that. Slim says, hello, sir. FPV Trucker says, what's up? Glenn Burnett says, do you still feel like hammered dog shit? I do not. I feel fine. Well, I didn't get much sleep last night. But I got a ton of editing done last night. This new computer is a joy to edit on. I've been spending considerably more time on the new computer, which is good because little by little I launch programs that I'm not logged into, and then I have to dig around all over the place for my credentials and whatnot. That's what I just need to do a bunch with this, with the Mac Mini, before I can transfer everything over to it and start using it for live streams and whatnot. So that's really good. Real Steady also runs beautifully. Real Steady Go, I should say, runs beautifully on the new computer. So that's been really, really nice because the laptop does more than this 12-year-old, 13-year-old tower, but not much more. It still really struggles with a lot of things. So this is awesome. I've been working. I put like 4 or 5 hours, probably 3 or 4 hours into the Florida edit, and it's really good. It took me a long time to find the song. It took me probably 2 or 3 hours worth of, shuffle, Spotify on shuffle, track forward, track forward, track forward, track forward, track forward, until I could find something that really fit with the footage. But I'm really happy with the song that I ended up finding, and the footage looks pretty good. I wish I'd had an ND filter on, but I was being kind of lazy. Other than that, it's good. The exposure is right. I was flying half decent, and yeah, so you guys will dig that. Yesterday, the football edit finally went up, so check that out here on the channel in 4K. The premiere was only in 10. I think I've totally figured out that when you do the premieres, they're only in 1080, but then as soon as the premiere is over with, it's in 4K. So watch it in 4K. It looks like a video game. It looks so, the quality is just ridiculous. Yeah, you guys will dig that. If you really like it, share it around, and other people will see it, and their lives will be a little bit better, hopefully. That's a stretch, but you know. Gamma Gonad says, I could definitely destroy some shit there. Yeah, that spot is brutal. That dive, there's a pretty much impossible dive. Nobody's done it at that spot. That I'm about $300-400 into that dive. I did that dive twice. Both times it just blew everything up. It was pretty brutal. I think I killed 2 session 5s there. Definitely one. I think I killed an ESC there, a flight controller, bunch of arms, couple of motors. It's a nasty, nasty, nasty spot. But if you don't do that dive, it's not that bad. Slim says, you're a madman flying so close to all those glass windows. What you want to remember about glass windows on big buildings like that is they're typically hurricane proof, and so you could hit them with a pickup truck and they wouldn't care. Our drones in a million years would not cause a particle of damage to any of these windows in most commercial buildings. You know, like part of the building code is that they need to have thick ass fancy windows. So yeah, I've hit windows hard and they just don't even remotely care. So not as sketchy as you'd think. Typically you're also not really like full throttle towards the windows. You know, like when you're playing around the windows, you're coming in at an angle or you're coming in completely sideways. So if you hit the windows, it's just like you just tap them. There's really no situations where you're going to be like barrel assing towards the windows full beans. That's really the only possible chance you would have to break one, but you're just not going to break one of those windows. They're incredibly strong, and our rigs, you know, seem like they're really powerful, but in the grand scheme of things, they don't hold a chance against one of those windows. Not to mention that most of the things that are going to hit the window are like TPU or the battery. You know, if you're like nose down, you bang into one of those windows, the battery's going to hit it. And the battery's like a little airbag. It's not going to do anything. We would need to hit those windows with like the head of a screw or something like that to have a sharp enough point to actually do anything to those windows. Pretty much all of our rigs, pretty much all around our rigs are rounded edges, and I mean, the carbon's a little bit hard, but it's usually kind of mashed up and there's not like a sharp point. So yeah, many in the 5 years that I've flown, I've seen building windows get hit easily 100 times from myself and other people, and nothing bad has ever happened. So Paulie Lee says, nice flying, my friend. Thank you, dude. Glenn Burnett says, nice flying. Was that steel you were flying with? It was. Alexander FPV says, good looking out, checking out options and prices. Sounds good. Quadkilla says, hola. Alexander says, DSLR is so heavy and so much money. They're not actually that expensive. The DSLR that I'm looking at right now and the one that's at Maggie's house were both... Well, this is my old school Canon EOS Rebel SL1 that I bought new for my ex-wife. Christ, probably a decade ago. So I paid a lot of money for this. But if you were to buy this right now off of like eBay or Amazon or, well, not Amazon, but eBay or like Facebook Marketplace, you'd pay like $200. The camera that's at Maggie's house, I paid $200 for. You can get old school Canon Rebel DSLRs for incredibly cheap that will do 720 and or 1080, and a DSLR in 1080 or even 720 looks fantastic because the sensor is big, it's a good quality sensor, and it's got good quality glass connected to it. A webcam, for example, over here has a shitty sensor, tiny little glass in front of it, and yeah, I mean, it's meant to be cheap and simple and webcammy. So, yeah, cheap DSLRs, man, for the win. I've always been a fan of buying. This is one of the only cameras I've ever bought brand new, and it was, I did that because like it was a present and it was meant to be a nice Christmas present, So, but yeah, I've always waited until DSLRs are like 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, and then I snag them for like $200-$300, and they take wonderful pictures as long as you know how to push the buttons on the back and put some nice light in front of the lens. Both of which I spent many years learning and figuring out in my 20s and first half of my 30s. So I shot stills. Shooting stills was my primary hobby for like my mid to late 20s and early 30s. So. And, I can't just do something to have fun. I gotta be really good at it. Glenn Burnett says you would need a ring light on the end of that lens of the DSLR. Yeah, which I could do. This light here, the magnifying glass, which is kind of worthless, it does come out. You can pop this out, and then you can take that lens out. The only problem with doing that, this lens is really heavy, and as you can see, the springs in this thing are now overactive. So to use this as a ring light, it totally works. Like and I'm actually gonna leave it. I was doing that for a while, and then I put this back in it because I was trying to use this as a magnifier. But it throws the focal length, or I'm sorry, it throws the focal point of that DSLR off just enough. And I feel weird having this just like sitting around. But let's do it. Let's leave that as a ring light, because I think like I took it out, but then like I took it out and I liked it. And then I meant to put it back in, and then eventually I did put it back in, and then I didn't like it, and I meant to take it back out, but then I didn't take it back out. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, that'll be cool. Thanks for the reminder, actually. Oh, the other reason The other reason I took it out is because now it's in front of the Stig helmet, which I don't love, but the light is a little bit better. So yeah, I don't know. I'm always kind of playing around with the setup. It's the setup here. It's really fun. Richard says Joshua is losing his shit playing Elden Ring. Is he really? Is he getting angry that he can't just find a normal fight? Steady Eddie says when using a GoPro on a 5-inch. Turn this up a little bit. Do you use ND filters and/or Hypersmooth or Real Steady? I use a combination of all those things depending on the situation. If it's a paying gig, I will almost always... So if it's a paying gig, usually I'm going to be shooting in 24 frames a second to match up with most of the directors of photography that I work with are on Reds or Aris, and they almost exclusively shoot in 24 frames a second, so I will almost always have the GoPro in 24 frames to match up with their footage. That I will then lock in the shutter to 148, and then drop the ISO down as low as I can. Maybe sometimes that's 100, sometimes that's 400. It depends on if it's nighttime, if it's daytime, how bright it is out. And then I'll use ND filters to do the rest, to bring the exposure in line with where it needs to be. That football edit, actually, I was being a little bit lazy, and I left the shutter on automatic, and I did use like an ND8, but that was the last time I ever, because I flew that footage like almost a year ago now. That was the last time I ever used automatic for the shutter. It's just like it works okay, but it's just not quite good enough for purely cinematic stuff. For freestyle flying, I actually really like it because when you're flying freestyle, it's super dynamic. You're going inside of buildings, under trees, over trees, looking directly up at the sky. Like the moves that we do are just pointing the camera all over the damn place. So I do like leaving a little bit of adjustability for freestyle, but yeah, for cinematic stuff, you gotta lock the shutter. Lock the shutter speed down and the ISO. You give the ISO a little bit of adjustment range sometimes, 100 to 400 for example, and then the ISO can move around just a little bit, but yeah, it's those settings are pretty important. And then Hypersmooth I typically don't really use anymore. Real Steady Go I use on pretty much all the cinematic stuff. When I deliver footage, I deliver it in RAW format and smoothed through Real Steady Go. That's built into my cost. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hypersmooth is okay. I have used Hypersmooth a couple times. So, for example, when I might use Hypersmooth is if I want to shoot in Super View. But typically that's only going to happen when you're flying freestyle. That's not really going to happen on like a paying gig. This Florida edit, for example, I did 2 batteries of freestyle flying at this really cool spot. And I put it on Super View. And it was, and I didn't turn Hypersmooth on, and I kind of wish that I had, because there were a couple little moments, there were a couple tiny little prop wash moments. The cinematic rig is on the dead cat arms, so on the pitch axis, it struggles with having enough power, and I don't have the PID tune totally cranked up, because, like, God forbid I hit something, and bend a propeller. I want to be able to fly that thing home to get the footage off of it. So yeah, I kind of wish I'd turned Hypersmooth on, but I don't know. I just don't like the way that it looks. I don't like the way that freestyle footage looks with any kind of smoothing done to it. What I should have done is brought 2 5-inch rigs. I should have brought a normal glide freestyle rig with the Hero 8 mount on it, which is just sitting right there. That rig, the tune is absolutely dialed in. It just does not prop wash. That would have been a better choice to fly around there. Plus, I wouldn't have been so like, with it. The Dead Cat cinematic rig, I like really try hard to not trash at all, so that it stays like just bulletproof and solid and clean. The rigs with with the Dead Cat arms, the center canopy is the farthest forward point. So if I hit something good and hard with that cinematic rig, the GoPro and the FPV camera are going to go face first into it. Whereas the regular True-X glides, the arms are swept forward enough where if you go face forward into something, the ends of the arms hit first and they protect the camera, both cameras. So just inherently, with a True-X glide build, I just fly it way harder because I know that there's way less chance of face planting the cameras into something. Good question, Steady Eddie. Go-Kart Mozart says, are you ready for Gran Turismo 7 in 3 more days? Be there or be square? I wish. From what I understand, PS5s are still impossible to get hold of. I can't afford one anyway. So I am not going to be on the Gran Turismo 7 train. But I'm going to watch Jimmy Broadbent play it. That's for fucking sure. And I will just live vicariously through him. I also don't know if my Thrustmaster T300 will work with a PS5. I get the feeling that it won't. Maybe it will. I don't know. But yeah, PlayStation 5s are just too expensive at the moment for me, which is fine. I always get in on stuff kind of like late or used or whatever. So at some point this year, I'll hopefully snag a PS5 and jump on the GT7 train. That'll be fun. Family Guyver says, what up, Collective? Spurton says, hello. Slim says, I see now. I didn't know or think that through. Guess since we never get tornadoes or hurricanes here in the mountains. I don't know if it's actually hurricane glass, but it's really thick. And it might be. In Charleston, I remember that was like a requirement for home building. They would force you to use hurricane glass when you were building a house in Folly Beach, I think it was. I remember hearing about that, being like, Jesus, because that stuff's expensive. Let's hide this bot. And Go-Kart Mozart says, I don't have a PS5 either. I'm greeting the PS4. Oh shit, that's right. They're making it for PS4, aren't they? Well, screw it. I'll get it then. Yeah, for sure I'll get it. Oh, hell yeah. Oh god, I totally forgot. That's right. I remember that, yeah, like 2 months ago, I feel like I read that and I was all excited. Totally forgot. Good call, dude. Alright, caught up on chat. Let's build a tiny lifter. What do you say, friends? I'll do a little bit of soldering, but you don't have to do any soldering on this build. Oh, hey, by the way, thanks for coming to the best live stream
in the world.
Did that come through? Can I, Oh, so I need to, if I leave it, click, hold on. Look, I got 2 of them. Ready? Aaron Ciotti is the most handsome man
in the world.
So now it's on and I can go and trigger it.
In the world.
Now there's a keystroke for it. I don't know how to get a keystroke to just turn that on. Like, I have to turn it on and then I can restart it. Robert Garsolin says, my skylights are hurricane glass and they survived many hailstorms. Ooh, that's scary. Yikes. Alright, I got the chat over here. Let's build the best tiny lifter
in the world.
Alright, so now they're both on. The problem is with these both on, if I change scenes, like watch this. When I go back to the other scene, I think it's going to trigger them both at the same time.
In the world.
Yeah, see, that ain't going to work. So I guess I have to just click them manually. That's not the end of the...
In the world.
Alright, let's build a... what's up, CMYK? Let's build a tiny lifter, friends. What do you say? Oh, you know what I want? I want to put one of the in the worlds on this scene over here. So if I go to media source, this is where I'll put in the world too. On this, there it is again. All right, so that one's on That one's on this. Got it. Okay, cool. All right, let's build it. We're going to be talking about how you really don't need to solder on this build. This will absolutely go together without soldering. Again, down in the description, I've got affiliate links to all the parts and pieces that you need to build this tiny lifter, which will... what'd you type, Dan? Sounded perfect. Awesome. Yeah, links to everything that you need to knock this build out. I don't know if this is the best frame for it. I have a feeling that it is. This is the Mobula 7 V3 frame. The reason that I'm doing this build with this frame is that these specific batteries that you will not have to solder to use fit right in here. This Talon 300 mAh FAF 2S battery here, I do not have a link to because I don't have an affiliate link to Talon's website. But just so you know, this battery is ever so slightly loose in here, but it does fit really, really nicely in there. This other battery that I do have a link to fits a little bit too tight, I think, but it still absolutely fits in here. If you can see, it's just a little bit wider than the bay, but if you just push on it a little bit, it does go in there. CiottiFPV 2020. 2022, I guess, right? Yeah, it does go in there, and I actually like this better because look, it's nice and firm in there. It's not going to slide out. So yeah, it bends the bay out a little bit. Also, it's a 350. It's a 350 mAh battery, whereas the Talon is only a 300. So yeah, I really dig this. Let me get you guys a weight really quickly on this battery. You know what? Let's do weights on everything. Let's do weights on every single part of this build. What do you say? That's a good way to start it off. So, Talon 300 mAh 2S battery with the pH 2.0 lead on it, 15.5 grams. GNB 350 mAh 2S, 16.8 grams. The canopy with the little TPU mount for the Insta360 Go 2, which CiottiFPV has designed and he is making a Thingiverse for. So basically your entire camera canopy and mounting setup, and I'm using aluminum M2 screws here, 4.8 grams. Aluminum screws are the lightest, and in this application they're just driving into TPU, so they don't really need to be strong or anything like that. Newbie Drone V3 AIO with their supplied rolled pin pH 2.0 connector and their antennas that you can use the FRSky protocol on, 5.6 grams. Little whip antenna. I don't have an extra. I do recommend that you get a True RC Singularity antenna, but I don't have an extra one right now. Half a gram for this whip antenna. I am going to be doing a little bit of soldering with this ELRS receiver. It should be about half a gram, but you absolutely don't have to. This AIO has FRSky built in, 0.4 of a gram for the Express LRS receiver. Newbie Drone 0802 18,000 kV motors, 8.4 grams for all four. The loud but more efficient propellers, these are Gemfan 1610 bi-blade propellers. A full set of those is coming in at 1 gram. Or so that's going to be the loudest propeller, that's the most efficient for the longest runtime. But my God, it is obnoxiously loud with these props on it. You will not want to fly these inside. These are like an outside prop, which doesn't really make much sense for a tiny whoop, if I'm honest. These are the AZI tri-blades. These are the quietest propellers that I've been able to find for these builds. 1.1 grams for a set of 4 of those. The propellers that I really recommend are these Gemfan 1635, and they're going to be the heaviest propeller. 2.0 grams. These are the propellers that I like the best. If you're doing stealth missions, doing some guerrilla whoop stuff, definitely use these AZIs. Just try not to crash with these. These are kind of flimsy. These are the lightest of the tri-blades. They have good thrust. and they're nice and quiet. These gem fans are the most thrusty of all these propellers, which this build really likes, and they're the most durable. But they are the heaviest, and they are a little bit louder than the Azis. And then these ultra loud, but you're gonna get good efficiency with them. Why am I getting dropped frames? Come on. Why? Why you gotta do me like this? World. Just type it in the chat. I don't know. I mean, there's really nothing. Oh, come on, man. What the hell's why? This other computer